When I reached the ripe old age of about 10, I found myself at a serious crossroads in my professional life. You see, this is the age where it becomes extremely important to start telling everyone what you're going to be when you grow up. And I had absolutely no clue. We were definitely past the I want to be a princess stage, but I still had a limited idea of what career paths were actually out there. Let's see, there were definitely doctors, lawyers, firemen, policemen. I knew there were teachers. I knew there were commercial real estate developers, like my dad, but I had absolutely no idea what that meant. When I reached high school, I had thankfully expanded my knowledge of what was available to me. But I was still interested in so many things. How could I pick? My friends who still wanted to be doctors and lawyers seemed so certain and so destined for greatness. Though I now realize there are many adults walking around out there who don't know what they want to be when they grow up, my situation seemed like a serious predicament to me. I figured that I wanted to be successful, but I was too intimidated by science to be a doctor, too non-confrontational to be a lawyer. So I settled upon what I saw as the ultimate image of success. I would be a CEO. Of what? Like I cared. Fancy suits, important meetings, an office with a panoramic view, plenty of money, and most importantly, tons of people having tangible evidence of just how successful I was. Oh, I would have that corner office once I figured out what that meant. So I worked hard in high school, graduated top of my class, but there was a flaw with my perfect plan. You see, in order for it to all go smoothly, I would have to get into an Ivy League school, graduate top of that class, get the best internship, get into the best B school, and MBA in hand, march off to climb the ladders of a giant corporation. It all seemed perfectly infallible until my Ivy League acceptance letter just seemed to get lost in the mail or something. Despite the setback, I proceeded onwards to Occidental College, taking the well-rounded education approach and confident that I could still sell my public policy degree as a solid foundation to Harvard Business School. Then I took the GMAT and got the worst score of any test I had taken in my entire life. No GMAT, no B school. Everybody kind of knows that. Now you can see where this is headed, right? Quarter-life crisis. At age 21, my life had ended. I was floating, deemed myself completely incapable, and clutching the tattered remains of my life plan. At this point, I was certain I would never be successful. There's that word again, success. Why was I so fixated on it, and what does it even mean? Our culture was built upon a warped perception of success. And though it's starting to change, enough of the original foundation remains that young people find themselves under tremendous pressure to be somebody in the public eye. Just for fun, I actually Googled success because that's what we millennials do for inspiration, is turn to the internet. The first definition, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. Seems pretty standard. But the second one, the attainment of popularity or profit. What if success was redefined completely? What if we stripped away the layers of meaning that we've put on this word that make us focus on recognition, power, and financial triumph? What if success was simply saying and doing what is true for you? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean what I said, saying and doing what's true for you. If we all operated with the explicit goal to say and do what was true for us, our world will drastically change. Now, you'll notice this doesn't solve all the world's big problems, and it is extremely idealistic, I do know. But just focusing on the idea will help us take a step in the right direction. How? By creating authenticity. This has been a huge buzzword lately, but I actually think it's right on target. If we all say what's true for us as individuals, we'll find ourselves forming relationships and teams and organizations which say and do what is true for them. This doesn't mean everyone will agree, but it does mean we will elevate the level of honesty and truth-telling in organizations and eventually in society. Right now, we're living in what Forbes has been referring to, casually, as a culture of on-demand comparison. Thanks to the age of digital and specifically social media, the opportunities for us to compare ourselves to others are more prevalent than ever, and they continue to grow exponentially. Worst of all, we can't get away from them. Our culture dictates that in order to be important, we have to be somebody. We're shown that success means money, popularity, good looks, while simultaneously being shown that success as women is having it all. Family, job, personal passions, travel. And then the media tells us that maybe we can't have it all at all. With society telling and showing us constantly that this is what success is, how are we supposed to find our own meaning? We compare and compare, compete and compete, all the while forgetting to say and do what is true for us. This leads to a severe crisis of identity. Feeling a desperate need to be somebody in order to be important, and seriously fearing ending up as nobody, it becomes extremely easy to settle for being just anybody, adopting the ideas, passions, beliefs, hopes, and dreams of someone else in order to feel like we are going somewhere too. Young people have always searched for identities. A lucky few are born with a sure sense of self and certain life path. Most of us cast about trying on different identities until one feels right. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we can't lose ourselves in the process. There are 64 million millennials now entering or about to enter the workforce. And despite popular belief, we're actually craving mentorship and support. Because we were raised in the age of digital media, we have been overwhelmed with potential role models since the time we were very young. Many of us aren't sure how to go about finding success, though we know it is of utmost importance. Are we supposed to lean in with Sheryl Sandberg, dare greatly with Brené Brown? Should we take the advice of Frances Hesselbein and focus on task, not gender, labeling ourselves not as women leaders, but leaders who also happen to be female? Is the answer industry specific? Where's the line between acknowledging our femininity and competing in a professional environment that in many ways remains dominated by men? Where do we stop the polarizing language around gender? And where is it in everyone's best interest to distinguish women from men? We need to teach this generation, and the one after that, and the one after that, that true success is saying and doing what is true for you. The women being honored here tonight are prime examples of individuals who have said and done what's true for them, and in the process had a profound positive impact on others. Everyone here tonight, of all genders, has the unique opportunity to change the way our current and future young men and women view success and how they learn to be in the professional environment. In fact, I think it's elemental to our collective success that young men and women have both positive male and female role models and mentors. You can't read Business Week or Forbes or Fast Company or any business-related composition today without seeing a reference to these millennial people jumping from company to company, rejecting corporate ladders, rejecting mentorship, rejecting hard work. As a millennial myself, I feel slightly obligated to debunk some of these myths about us. We may be a cohort of 64 million, but we're 64 million individuals searching for our unique place in the world, searching for what is true for us. We are the last generation to be born into a world where social media does not exist. The dangerous opportunity and temptation to compare to others will only continue to get worse. And we're young. The oldest of us is only about 35 right now. We might not know what our passions are or where our life is supposed to take us. And we aren't lazy. We're actually quite courageous in our own way, taking risks in order to find the best fit and find our passions. But we desperately need mentorship and support. In preparation for this speech, I actually asked my female friends what they saw as the greatest barrier to their professional success. Despite all attending different schools, living in different areas, working in different industries, the response was overwhelmingly the same. We are terrified of not being taken seriously, and we feel like we have something to prove. I was lucky. I grew up being told that if I wanted to be a basket weaver because that's what made me want to jump out of bed in the morning, that's what I should do. My parents were behind me 110%, no matter the direction of my career path. So where did I get this notion that success meant being a businessman? As an extremely shy, you might say painfully shy, child and teenager, I had convinced myself that my success was going to lie in how I could prove myself to be of value. I wanted recognition. I wanted to prove myself worthy of my parents' unwavering support, prove myself of value to my peers who I'd felt invisible to, prove to the world that I had something to contribute, and prove to myself, well, that I could do it. When faced with adversity, you're supposed to try harder. Strive more. Don't stop. Don't take no for an answer. No one ever says when the going gets tough, just quit. You're not supposed to just give up on your life dream, right? Well, as I told you, I kind of did. I let go of the part that just wasn't working, and you know what? It made me discover something important. It had never really been my dream. Letting it go allowed me to press onwards, pursue other passions, and discover another dream. Open a door where mentorship, support, and previously unimaginable opportunities were available to me. Being supported by two very special mentors, Mo Carrick and Jim Morris, in saying and doing what is true for me is how I landed on this stage here with you tonight. What if, starting today, all young professional women, and all young women for that matter, were supported in the message that true success is not about imitating others or fulfilling a supposed to be. It's not about competing with men or proving your worth. What if we were taught to believe, starting now, that true success is saying and doing what is true for you? If we say and do what's true for us, not what's true for someone else, we will build better relationships, stronger teams, foster more innovative discussions and problem solving, and build cultures on a local, national, and international level that nurture appreciation for uniqueness and truth-telling. We're at a critical turning point in history where ideas about work-life balance, gender equity, responsible business, cross-cultural collaboration, authentic leadership are gaining momentum. We have the opportunity to create a new culture of saying and doing what is true for us, teaching our youth that authenticity and truth-telling are the foundations of success. My challenge to you, regardless of your age, gender, professional level, regardless of whether you have children yourself, lead by example, say and do what's true for you, and recognize others for doing it well, as we are tonight. Rebel against the culture of comparison. Help the young men and women in your life understand that their uniqueness is valuable, that mentorship is about finding one's own self, not about becoming a carbon copy of someone you admire. Tell them it's okay to not have it all figured out yet, to not have a perfect plan. And most importantly, help them to understand that in the quest to become somebody and the fear of being nobody, they should never, ever settle for being just anybody. Thank you.